So this is a great marketing piece that I can give any of you and all of you if you'd like. And basically what Keller Williams did is they went out and kind of did marketing. They basically said, okay, if I'm an agent, say I own my own brokerage, and I need to have a platform to work from. In the past, a lot of agents worked off a top producer. Donna, I think you've been on top, you were on top producer how many years? Like 11 or 10, or I mean, like that was the program for many of us. And then other platforms came around, and I'll just kind of go through them. Like Sync, I know Gary and Nikki were on Sync. It's $1,500 a month. Plus you spent money for the lead generation part. So they did your Facebook ads and all that for you through the program, but you still paid for it. And let's just say you spent $500 on ads. You definitely didn't get 300 leads. You maybe got 50. And the cost also carried for them to do the work for you. It didn't go like, they didn't give $1 spend to the ad. So if you spent $1, 30 cents went to the ad, 70 cents went to them doing it for you. So you didn't get as many leads, just, you know, obviously. Sync is a big one. So if you talk to agents at Remax or other top agents, Sync, Boomtown, I know Jeff Borum is Boomtown. That's 1,500 plus the additionals plus every license. So, you know, some agents, agents are spending about $3,000 on Boomtown. But it does a lot of cool things, and it has a great website, and it's all integrated. So you can imagine if you were running a big team and you had to track leads and all that, and make sure things were happening. It's a very robust program. But, agents aren't spending just 15, it's usually about $3,000 when you add it all up. FirePoint, I'm not as aware of really anyone using this. It's not very good anymore, but it used to be hot, and it's about $500 a month. KV Core is what a lot of EXP people use. And then Follow Up Boss. I know Judy Popst, you were using Follow Up Boss, and most people are spending about $300 to $500 on Follow Up Boss. And then if they want to add any of the other bells and whistles, they will. Real Geeks, I talked to 4 agents this week already. They're all on Real Geeks. They said they're spending more than $949. They're spending about $1,500. And you can segment what you want it to do, but it's, just like Twilio. It's basically Twilio. They're spending almost $1,500 a month on Twilio. And they don't have any plans put in place for them. They have to create their own plans. So unlike you guys, you can just go rip off Tyler Shields and Marty Miller and Nick Baldwin and some of these other people. You have to build it all out. So the thing with this is once you've taken the time to do it, it's hard to move because it's a pain in the butt to do. And you guys can imagine, even with what you're doing in Command, you guys can just go borrow a really good smart plan that's already in place. Can you imagine if you had to build it from scratch? So, I mean, you still need to go and edit your name and things so it doesn't say Nick Baldwin. But, you can imagine the time someone would have invested to do that. So a lot of people get kind of caught up on Real Geeks because they don't want to leave it because of all the time they had to put into setting it up. RealVolve, I don't know anyone that's using this, but it's popular elsewhere. And then we have a kind of a comparison of what Command does for free, basically. I mean, it's included in your cap. So you guys aren't putting money out to do this. So that's a huge reason why so many agents are moving to the company. We're going to have 25 agents this month join us. I mean, it's insane. In the past, Damari and I, it's not like Damari's not working her butt off for that, though. I don't want it to sound like it's just magic, because we would love great referrals too, right, Damari? we're not just on cruise control. This is like, that's how many agents are like, okay, I'm spending, $1,000 a month to run my business. So, and that's the very low end. That's for like a $4 million producing agent with this and that and the website and then the other thing that they have, and it's not even connected, so it's kind of a hot mess. And then you've got the next level of agent that's buying a platform like this. So they're probably spending, let's call it $2,000 a month on whatever that is, if it's KV Core or Real Geeks, plus then maybe they have this third-party guy doing Facebook ads or something. So 2,000 is a real number for most agents that are doing a pretty darn good business, that are full-time, And let's just say they have at least over an admin, because at that point, that's where their systems from Google spreadsheets, et cetera, break. Because if I have a team member now that I add on the Salesforce, you know, I got to make sure they're following up the leads. I got to make sure I can hand them the leads. I got, you know, the whole deal. So you need something. You need something to be able to work together. You can't just, you know, fly by the seat of your pants. So you think about that. That's probably about 40% of the MLS are spending about $2,000 on this and that a month. So Keller Williams only cost them 18,000 plus the royalty, so 21,000. So they could either keep spending $24,000 a year trying to put it together on their own, or they could join us and not have that cost. And that's really a big deal, you guys, right now. So just keep that in mind. Even if you're still getting into Command and just getting comfortable with it, that's a huge value proposition. In fact, Zeke, my ISA, sent me a couple appointments this week, and they were just really nice agents that really have no interest in moving. One was an independent. He has his own brokerage. He's doing really well. He did already 7 million this year. He thinks he's going to hit 11. It's going to be his best year ever. He's very happy. He's the only person who works for himself, so he has no other ancillary issues. He doesn't really want to get any bigger because he's very comfortable where he's at. So really, we just are friends, you know. And I, you know, I just had a great conversation with him. But then I had him give me a test drive of Command, and he's like, whoa, holy cow. I wouldn't have to go buy Real Geeks. I wouldn't have to go buy that third-party vendor. And the third-party vendor, he was spending about $500 a month on social media ads. It was Pinterest, Instagram, and Facebook, fundamentally mostly Facebook. But he was only getting about a lead for about $5 to $8. You know, and it wasn't someone that was on Zillow or Realtor.com recently. It was just anyone that was willing to click on the ad, basically, and fill out their information. So I kind of shared with him some of the comparisons, and he was just kind of mind blown. So it's funny because that was a real basic conversation I had with an agent. And next thing you know, he wants to sit down with me and talk about coming to Keller Williams. So it's a very interesting thing. So just make sure you guys are keeping apprised at what you have, because you know, this is the real deal, and yet we're unpacking it together. You're going to all start using it to your level, and at the end of the day, if you're really just using the neighborhood nurtures with your database, you're doing really great. You're doing really great. And I want to give a shout out, kind of a motivating nudge to y'all, because Kelly Ackley joined us. Kelly's not on right now. I don't see her on yet. Kelly joined us couple weeks ago, maybe a month now, Damari, maybe a month.
Yeah, about a month.
Yeah, about a month. And you know, she had to get set up and onboarded, and she had some listings to move from her Remax office that she moved from, and she had some other things. So I feel like we've just been gelling for the last 2 weeks. She started coaching with me 2 weeks ago. We did her first coaching session, and I said, we got to tackle your database. Well, she already has about 500 people in her database on a neighborhood nurture. That's all she did. She just went all in. And she's got so much that's kicked up because of it. She's got potentially like 8 listings in her pipeline through the end of the year of conversations that she had because she had to get this going, you know, and it was just, you know, and I told her, don't tell them you move brokerages. They don't care. They don't care what brokerage you're at. They love you. Tell them you've invested in some new technology and you want them to try it out. And that's really what she's been doing. So she's been calling, and all she does is she calls, texts, or emails, depending on what level of relationship she has with the person, which is fair. And, you know, just has a one-liner like, you know, it's been a while, and I've invested in some new technology, and I'd love for you to check it out and give me some feedback. As someone I know that would be honest with me, I'd love your feedback. And, you know, she's going right in, putting them on a neighborhood nurture. If she doesn't have their address in and she didn't have a one-to-one conversation, she's just putting them on a couple cool areas, or if she kind of knows where they live in the general vicinity, she's picking a couple there. And then she's just adding them to the second smart plan, which is Share My App. Now, she's only had 4 people download her app. One is her mom. But we talked more about how she could roll that out a little bit more interestingly. And I said, you know, Kelly, look at your app and compare it to Zillow. What do you like better? And she's like, oh, I like this better. I like this better. I like this better. I said, great. Now do 3 little videos saying why you want to delete your Zillow app and download mine. And I said that would be kind of fun to send to your people because they like you, they know you, and you know they all have the Zillow app, right? They all have it. And so she's doing that. So I just want to give you some ideas around what you guys could be doing. And I'm happy to show any element of that because I really want to focus Tuesdays and Thursdays on showing you more so you guys feel a little bit more comfortable kind of exploring what you have in front of you with Command. And in all truth and fairness and transparency, I'm just learning right ahead of you. Damara, you can attest to this. We're both learning just a little bit more. We're trying it out, learning it so that we can role model it a little bit better for you because every day there's a new bell and whistle on it and a new feature and a new thing that it does. And there's also some issues of what is working and what's not. So, you know, I want this to be an open communication as well. When you're having a challenge that you can bring it up to me so that we can figure it out. I know Donna's got an engineer working on her Command because something's messed up bad. She's got this black cloud on her right now that she's working through. But we were able to escalate it to an engineer at KWI to see what the heck did we do? Did we screw something up in the settings or what did we do that made hers act up like it is? So just know we're very passionate to make sure that each of you get what you need in terms of support, training, and solutions if something is glitchy. And at the same time, I just want to share a few things. So before I dive into that, what kind of questions do you have or challenges or anything that you want to bring up around the tech, Command, or anything right now? Anything, but don't bring up compliance because I'm out of the loop on that. I totally am. I'd have to get Tanya Leonard on here. Anyone want to ask me anything or show anything or share anything that they've been doing? Otherwise, I will.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Eric.
I was going to say that, well, I went ahead yesterday and updated my Twilio to the new system. I have a custom number that I've been using for months, and I use it a lot for my birthday nurtures and other things like that, so they get the automatic text. And it always worked well, and it still works well. I tested it this morning because it did, they say it takes a day to port, so it ported over. It looks like in the system there were some sent yesterday still, so I don't think anywhere missed. But I did a quick test here, and I noticed one change. I just sent myself a text, but then it actually sent a second text as well. It says, would you rather discuss this via email or phone call? Reply stop to opt out of these texts. So they have a opt out option, I guess, now that goes out automatically. Is that it's sort of like a question or something I noticed? I
think this is a legal thing that they have to show. We have to show that we gave them a chance to opt out. And this goes to what Donna and I were talking about. Because on these texts, if you set up a smart plan, and let's just say you were kind of obnoxious, and I know Eric, you're like the least obnoxious person in the world, but let's just say you were like robo-text 4 texts in a day to someone, and someone was like, I want off. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a way to do that.
All right.
And I don't know about you, but I don't know how Donald Trump got my cell phone, but he's been texting me like crazy and it's driving me nuts and I can't stop it. I was trying to stop it the other night, but there's no stop. I'm like, good Lord. And so I think they put that in as a safety precaution because now in the beginning, you've now addressed that you gave them an out, Eric.
Okay.
And now you're legal. So you don't have to worry about those $10,000 fines, et cetera, that are floating around there. The other thing to mention, I'm so glad you brought this up because I almost forgot. I'm going to bring up, so this is how the new plan is for Twilio. So it actually costs you less now, guys. When you were paid as you go, before we kind of set this kind of national account up with Twilio, we were all on a pay as we go thing where we, have a credit card, get hit by another $30 or whatever. I can't remember what it was. I think it was $30 or something, or $20. And then when we ran out of credits, it would just charge our credit card again. The new system is much cheaper. So they were able to work out a discount for us in terms of cost. And then I believe, and I'll double check with Andrew and all that, but I'm 99% certain that was just you with your CYA on the whole legalese about robo-texting and all that. What's really cool about it, Eric, and I'll just screen share, when you go in, from a legal standpoint, this is great because you guys hear the do not call list and the do not, all the do not, whatever lists. And it's a real deal, especially in South Florida. For some reason, we have a lot more lawsuits, and Nikki is really on top of it, but very fearful because we can't control if an agent goes ahead and does a lot of this stuff. And if they do, they can get really in a lot of hot water, and it's happening. People are getting huge fines and things put aside. So just know that it's the real deal. So I'm grateful that they were able to put that in place to kind of make sure we're in a good spot. What was I just going to share with you?
Well, I did. While you're doing that.
The timeline. So if you go, let me just quick share a contact. What's really neat from a legal standpoint, wrong thing. If you go into any contact, and I'll just grab any contact. First of all, in the thread, in the timeline, it's going to show everything. And what you'll see is sent, delivered, and now received. So you know if they read it. So that's a nice added bonus too. They didn't, am I sharing the right thing? I think so.
Yeah, we're there.
Okay. So now some of the added features of Twilio's kind of upgrade with us is you can see, yes, it was sent, yes, it was delivered, and they read it. So this text was sent at 8:43, delivered at 8:43, and read at 8:44. If I didn't read this till 9:30 p.m., it would say 9:30 p.m. So you can kind of see if they even looked at it, which is great. But I want to tell you from a legal standpoint, if you go over, if you go into any contact when they're in opportunities, and you go into any single opportunity, there in the timeline, the historic timeline, it tracks everything. I got your head's in the way, sorry. Everything that happened with this lead with a date stamp. So to Eric's point, Eric, if you text me happy birthday and you saw that it sent, delivered, and I read it, you're like, oh, she got her message. But if you had been one of those people that had been robo-texting or maybe causing me stress, and I opted out, it would show that you had given me the chance to do that, and I did or I didn't, but it would show all that in that timeline. So if I tried to sue you later saying, this guy, I'm on the do not call list and he's texting me, it would show in the timeline that you had sent that text and I didn't take action on it. So that's your saving grace. So those are really important things to know about because the world's getting more and more litigious. And if you look at other countries like Canada, you can't even send a newsletter out without them opting in through email. Their do not call is like, do not talk, do not prospect, do not do anything. So, that's where Canada is. We're not far behind them because people are just tired of getting robo-spammed and all that. So just know some of these safety precautions they put in are really, really critical and important for you, but also they're there to protect you so that if someone is frustrated by you, they can stop,
Well, the good thing is I noticed on mine, I sent a second test message so that opt-out message is only on the first.
On the first, yep.
So
but that's all they have to prove is that you gave them a chance and they still wanted to hang with you. So if you make someone irritated later, Eric, they may say unsubscribe, just turn off that system if that's the case.
They've had the option to in the past, because I know in the past I've had people unsubscribe from Twilio. I don't know how, but they have. So it was an option in the past as well. It's just now it's much more obvious.
Yeah, I don't think it was as blatant. And it needs to be blatant to be true. Mm-hmm. And now you're good. Now you don't have to worry about it. Plus you guys have a savings. In Twilio, I honestly didn't know how much it cost me in the past, so I don't even know how much of a savings it is, but I know it's a pretty decent discount. So for those of you that haven't responded to the little Twilio bar over that keeps floating around your command, just follow the steps. It's very easy. I did the same thing, Eric. It's just click, 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 and you're done. But it puts you in the spot of protecting yourself. And then moving forward, anyone new that just starts doing this, it's just going to be set up the right way anyway. Kristen?
Yeah. So with Twilio, it ends up being a different phone number that's being texted and then your own phone number. Is that correct?
Yeah, but you can port a number. And so when you go through it, it lets you choose a local number. Okay. And agents talk to me about this a lot. So I'm going to bring this up. They're like, why isn't it my number? And I just want to tell you, there's workarounds. You can mask numbers and stuff, but you don't want your number, your cell number in the hands of everyone for life, you guys. Think of it as like a marketing channel. And I've had to help so many agents move off their number so that they could have their life back. So know that,
Phones.
yeah, just know that if you're challenged by that thinking, just have a conversation with me and I'll kind of explain the concept behind it. But real briefly, the concept behind it is, you know, when you go on vacation, you know, this is our camera, our video camera recorder. We don't have cameras and the video camera anymore. We have a phone. And this baby's our lifeline, right? And if you go on vacation and you want to take pictures of your family or your food at some fancy dinner or enjoy yourself, every time this baby rings, you get like a twitch because you're trying to be on vacation. So know that you really want a marketing channel. And this is the start of you guys doing this. So if you are stuck on that a little, happy to have a conversation around it, yet you can mask it to be a local number. And I would suggest you do that.
Well, I guess my question is really is like, you know, it's going to be different than the one that they're actually picking up and calling, right? So then it's just so that they know it's you. I'm assuming there's just some.
You guys get texts from me all the time from 3 different numbers and no one's ever brought it up to me. Do you guys realize that?
Yeah, no, notice. I was hunting you down and trying to, which one do I respond to?
Because you know what? Before I had this, I used Google Voice, and I had a 282-5055 number, which, by the way, is Google Voice, guys, because I want to be able to not have my phone ring after 5 when I need to take a break. Because you guys know I go 100% all in when I'm on, but when I need to be off, I need to be off. So I can just go into Google and just, that goes right to voicemail. I'll look at it later. And
Jessica, I saved your number. I noticed because I saved your number in my phone. So what number are we supposed to contact you on?
The office number. Michelle's my gatekeeper. She'll ask you what you need and then she'll get you to me.
Okay, all right.
No, the truth is, you guys, can you imagine? But can you imagine if everybody had my cell phone and they're like, hey, I have a contract question. I would be like dead.
Yeah.
Right?
You wouldn't be able to answer, actually. That's the problem.
That's
Yeah,
the
but
problem.
you know, that's
You
how
will get too many texts.
So if you guys really, really think about this, run your business from day one as if you were a mega agent, just so that you don't have to try to unpack yourself later. I don't know if Jude's on, but Judy Popst has the best phone number in the universe. 8080808. So simple, right?
Yeah.
But we had to peel that number out of her hands so she could use that as her marketing number, because when it wasn't just herself and it was a team, right? That's a golden number, right? Especially when you're driving by a sign going 25 miles an hour. You can see 8080808. That's easy to remember. Yet, so she had to get to a new number, and we had to get all of her friends off 808080808. It took us probably a year. I still sometimes call the wrong number. But that number was too good and it had been out there too long for her to keep it for herself. And when she's trying to leverage and share leads and work with a team, she couldn't do that. So just know that even if you never intend to build a team, you probably intend to go on a vacation, right? And yet you really want a marketing channel. And if I could tell you all to set it up one way and make it mandatory, I would. You'd have a marketing line, and then you'd have your service line. And your marketing line would be all inbound leads. And as soon as a lead is converted, you start communicating on the other channel, and that's the customer service channel. So if let's just say you guys are all my team and the phone rings and it's the lead line, I'm not available today, I could circle that around the team, say, someone grab this lead because we need to answer the phone, right? Whereas if it was the customer service line and Damari was my executive assistant, I could forward that to her only, because those are the things she would take care of. If one is one of my agents on my sales force, and someone's calling about their listing and asking why the photographer's not there, I don't want that to go to Juan. I want that to go to my administrative team. So you really want to start compartmentalizing your business from go if you can. And if you are your customer service, your admin, and your sales force, that's fine. Yeah, if you're on a showing or you're working with someone and you're going to be tied up for a couple hours and you see your phone blowing up on the lead line and you've got a minute, do you want to answer that lead? Heck yeah. But if it's a listing guy calling you that calls you way too many times just to chat about his listing and you're busy with someone, you might let that one go to voicemail and call them a little bit later after you're done with your client. So you're able to kind of also prioritize. So Twilio, so the improvements with Twilio are for the good for you guys, but don't get caught up on your cell number. Just keep that in mind.
The number that they have right now with Twilio, you can't call it. That is one of the features they're working on implementing in the future. So if somebody does call that number, it can be forwarded to a different number. So I'm still waiting on that one as well. So what I do as a part of all of my texts, I have a signature that goes out with my name, Keller Williams Realty, and my cell phone number or number I want them to call me on.
Very smart. I love that idea. So let me ask you this, Eric, because I haven't set that up yet. I was just thinking, like, because I get texts from a lot of you and I don't have you saved in my phone. I'm like, who is this? And I'll go through the thread and try to guess who might this be, you know, because a lot of you don't sign off. I would, and I know on my phone, it's just in my settings for text that I think it's called signature, that you can put your name and you know, KW or whatever. How did you do that in Twilio?
Well, on all the smart plans, I just set it in there, tie it into the smart plan. So like birthday smart plan or anything else, it just says happy birthday, Eric, and gives them my phone number. So, you know, if it's one of the others for one of my lead generation, I sign it Eric, KW Realty, and my telephone number. So that way, at least if they call that other number back, they'll get some kind of error message if they call the texting number back, because it's really bad. But, you know, at least then they have my number if they look back at the text itself.
Well, and when you get the text, if you put a number in there, you can just click on it and call right there. It's really simple. So that's smart. Very smart. I'm going to go back and do that, Eric. I'm going to steal that idea from you. I love it. Nice. Yeah, so Twilio is improving and advancing for reasons to protect you. Also, it's cheaper now. So if you haven't gone through and just clicked on the top and followed all the way through, do it. If you get stuck, reach out to Kevin Deely at the office, and he can help you. And if you get confused a little bit with the porting of the numbers, because I found it to be a little more tricky than I thought it was going to be, because their platform isn't super intuitive, reach out to Kevin. Kevin can handle any Twilio support that you need on that, and it really is a one-time set up and forget about it kind of thing. So cool.
Yeah, I want to set up just what you mentioned, but I've been having a challenge. Is I want to stop using my personal phone number for my marketing. I do have a Twilio number that I text from that I need to port, and I was exploring whether or not a Google Voice number, because I picked up 2 numbers through Twilio. And one number I really like that could be used like my call number. But I don't know.
The easy number should be your marketing number. Because remember, people are driving by your signs and looking at things like, you know.
Yeah, so
most people aren't going 25 miles an hour either. They're usually going about 45.
I want to see how I could port that to a Google number and use that.
So would it be helpful if we take one of our next team meetings and have Kevin and Andrew cover all these things?
I don't know, anybody? To me,
because you know the thing is, I'm sure there's a lot more people in the office that aren't on Morning Mojo that have questions around this. So maybe it's setting it up, starting with step 1, step 2, step 3, and maybe if we recorded it in step 1, step 2, step 3, so we had that for future reference, that would probably be helpful.
Yeah, I think so.
That would be great.
Okay, Myra, I'll ask Andrew and probably Kevin, because Kevin does the most of it. I'll ask Kevin to do a team meeting with me on that, and we'll record it and stop record, start record, stop record, so we can make little segments out of it, so that if someone is smart and they know how to do all this and they just wanted to know the more complicated stuff that Eric and Juan are doing, they can just jump to that spot if they need. And if they're like me and they go into Twilio and they're like, port, what do I do? They can start with step 2, because that's where I needed. Okay, great. I'll make sure that I have it.
Yep.
Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what? This is all new, but I want to just remind you, and I'll just kind of end with this. You guys have $1 million product in your hand. It's actually $1 billion product in your hand. And yet we're still learning to use it. And I'm going to tell you, the hardest part for me is I've lived on paper in my entrepreneurial spirit for a lot of years. And so Damari and I were talking about it yesterday, because we all got together for some trainings we were doing. My studio is just about set up in the office. I'm going to have 2 screens, and one screen all day is going to have command open at all times. And so that I get more purposeful, that when I interact with someone, I go put the notes in. When I'm seeing a lead pop in, I'm on it right away, not when I turn my computer on to command again. And I'm going to get multi-screens just so I can have one on command all day, so I can be on top of things a little better. And it's just getting used to working a little differently. Yet once I start putting these things together, it is fun, because my follow-up is getting so much better by just putting a few things in place that I always intend to do, but you know, sometimes you get busy or you get sidetracked, and yet then your systems fail. So just know that this is us all evolving together. If you need any support or training, reach out to the office and Kevin will help you, or he'll escalate it to Andrew if it's something beyond. And if it's something really crazy, like with what Donna's dealing with, we have access to the engineers direct that will actually just go hack in and try to figure out what maybe we set up in the settings, or what we have that's maybe fighting itself. We're committed. So Andrew's like #1 project is trying to fix what Donna's got going on. And we just said, this is your project until this is resolved. So just know that's our commitment level to you. And yet I don't want you guys messing around and getting stuck on something. So the last thing I'll share with you is called Loom. If you don't know what Loom is, I'm just going to open up my computer screen here. You can download Loom, and if you look in my top right corner here, this little button shows up. That's Loom. And what's cool about Loom is you can just start recording, and it'll just record whatever you're showing on your screen. Like right now, it's going to start recording. So if you're having a problem with something, you could say, hey, Andrew, you know, when I click on this button, I can't add a new offer, you know, it doesn't work. You know, you can show exactly what your screen is doing. And when you're done, you just hit stop share, and it creates it into an immediate video that you can just copy the link or share and send in an email. And he'll be able to see your screen and exactly what's going on. So I could say,
amazing.
Yeah.
That
So
is
Andrew,
so cool.
yeah, Andrew Hicks, I'm like, Houston, we've got a problem. You know, I could send that to him, and then he can actually see what was happening. So that's Loom, Loom. It's free. It's easy. It's easier than me recording it on Zoom, downloading and uploading it to YouTube to share, especially when you want to show something really quick. So if you have any glitches, and that's one cool way to quick share exactly what you're running into. Now, truth be told, just to let you know, about 90% of everything Kevin or Andrew are getting is just little human error, like they missed a little box to click and then they're able to show them. But yet there's some real stuff happening, like Donna's got an anomaly going. She can't even open her contacts right now. It's just bizarre. I'm kind of dumbfounded by it. So don't struggle, ask for help. Yet if you're having something glitchy like that happen, if you record it while it's happening, it can help you so much better than trying to talk to you over the phone and guess what you're doing. So just keep that in mind. Okay.
Were you having problems opening the contacts from the task list or directly?
Donna.
Directly.
Okay, because I know that I had problems. I couldn't go from my task list. If I clicked on a contact from my task list, it wouldn't open. But if I then search that contact directly in contacts, then I could open it.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's the kind of little stuff we're running into. And yet, so I'm trying to report everything to Andrew just so he knows about everything. And I do it with a Loom. And then the next day it's fixed. I wish I knew that it was fixed. There's no communication that way yet. So they're working on how to be better communicators to us, because it's just little finessing. And yet I just keep sending it out. And then the next day I go back in and it works. So it's like magic. So the better we can report it though, the better they can quickly fix things. And, you know, Donna's really techie, so she can go mess with this and play around and try to figure hacks. I'd rather not have you hack it, because if something's broken, we need to get it fixed. Seriously, right? So just keep that in mind. And, you know, we're here for each other, but yet we're learning this together. So keep going. And yet I want to taunt you all with Kelly Ackley today, because 2 weeks in and she's got 500 people already on her neighborhood nurtures. She's off and running, and she's got several listings coming up because of the little bit of conversation that was created with that. And several of those were by text or email as well, for people that maybe she didn't really want to call. So just know, just go do it. Don't stop, don't sabotage your success. Just go do this. And this is a new way of learning to work every day, but this is the future, and this is where the consumer is. So you want to be where the consumer's at. So neighborhood nurtures, just pushing that out there. I don't know if I could make it mandatory, I would, because I care about you guys. So just remember that. If you have any questions or need anything, reach out. We're here for you. And you guys have a powerful day.